Good morning. Hands off. That was the big deal over the weekend. I'm not sure if you heard about it. I'm a little bit disappointed myself that I didn't hear about it till after the fact. I went online real quick. I think it was Saturday evening or Sunday, probably yesterday, and I saw this split screen. It's showing these gatherings of protesters or gatherers. I'm not sure what the demonstration was called. Hands off something. Hands off our jobs. And they were, it was like a split screen of different major cities around the US. You had Chicago in there, Seattle, DC, a few other major cities here in the United States. And um, maybe there was a few million or a million altogether. So they were decent gatherings, pretty large, and I was kind of upset. It's like I didn't know about this. I didn't know about any of this. So I don't know how you get invited to one of these things. They were here in Mason City as well. There was a few hundred people here in Mason City that gathered to protest and this hands-off idea, this concept of Elon Musk taking the jobs. I was thinking of this joke this morning. I thought it was pretty funny that you a lot of people thought they had to be worried about the Mexicans taking all the jobs, but it turns out you had to be worried about the Africans taking all the job because Elon Musk he was born in Africa. Don't fact check me on that one. I'm pretty sure it's true though. Yeah, so these jobs are a little bit um, they're very essential. Not a little bit essential, very essential. You have Social Security. That's been a huge topic. I remember since I was a kid, people were talking about Social Security and how it's going to work and who's going to pay, and a lot. It's been a nonstop issue for a long time, and a lot of people have fear that it's going to end because it just can't be. It's just not sustainable. That's been the most that I've the most the biggest comment that I've heard about it is that it's gonna end. Social Security is gonna end. It started. I'm not sure when it started, in '60s or '70s or something. Maybe earlier. I have no idea. I have to get a separate system where I can look these things up and let you know what's going on. Which is what I'm trying to do right now. It's actually one of this reason why I want to start this video today is to kind of invite you guys to let me know what's going on. If you do know, get a hold of me, message me. Hopefully, you can be on the show to kind of explain a little bit more what your experience is with this, and you can explain it to us who don't know what's going on. Um, I wish that I could have kind of gone there or talked to somebody to see what they're talking about, what they're doing. I have noticed in past demonstrations, protest groups, it seems like people just want to gather with like-minded people and they don't really know what the topic is. There's a lot of YouTubers and podcasters that have kind of got their fame from, I don't think they're antagonizing the protesters, but the whole concept is you go to this protest and it's about whatever it is about, and you go and talk to them and you ask them, hey, why are you here? What about this issue? And they have no clue what's going on. They kind of get upset and like, you're invading my rights, and it's nothing of the sort. They're just trying to get information. So that's probably not the best way to find out what's going on. It just seems like people aren't really there to understand what's going on to help. They just want to kind of be with like-minded people. Uh, I was myself a part of a demonstration a few years ago, quite a few years ago. Iowa had just elected to allow for gay marriage to be legal, and again, I didn't know anything about it, but it was brought up in our church, and we were convinced to go down to the state capitol and talk to the governor and let her know that we were disappointed. I'm pretty sure it was a she at the time. I mean, I don't know who the governor was, if it was a male or female at the time. And so we wrote this letter she wasn't in the office that day, and so we wrote this letter. I have no idea what's going on. I was told to write a letter, so I'm disgusted. This shouldn't happen, and just using a lot of rhetoric. I think that was kind of my job there, my mission there. Like I was doing some kind of good, and I don't know. A few months later, I get a letter back from the governor saying, she appreciates me being involved with government and making my voice known, and uh, that's how it works. And but there's really going to be no change. It was an elected issue, and here it stands today, which is kind of a funny thing. I think if you go back probably 20 years ago or so, you could not be an elected official, governor or senator, Republican or Democrat, if you agreed that gay marriage should be legal. A lot of people, I don't think, know that or remember that. It wasn't that long ago. There's a clip floating online with Hillary Clinton. She was saying how emphatic she was that marriage is between a male and a female. And I'm not sure, I could be getting the name wrong, but I know it was definitely a large Democrat leader. It could have been Obama, could have been Biden or Hillary, might have even been Bill Clinton. But the point is, it didn't take that long, and then they were, of course, that's a big issue. And like, yeah, of course, gay marriage should be for anybody who wants to be married. If you love somebody, you get married to them. Doesn't matter their sex or your sex. Just get married. It's like the flip flopping goes around. It's basically pandering to the voters. That's one thing that I don't appreciate about politicians, is how much pandering there is to voters. That's across the board, Republicans and Democrats. I see it equally on both sides, how much these guys are just panderers. And it's unfortunate. I do know that if you want to get your message across or your ideas across, that you do have to sway some voters. Otherwise, it's going to go completely the opposite. And that's always what it is. It's always fear based. It's just unfortunate about how much people fear the repercussions of being themselves and being of honesty. Basically, if you're honest, you kind of fear the repercussions of that. And it's just through the ancients, through all of history, that's been the issue. People being afraid to tell the truth. And I was talking to my son the other day, and he got in trouble. He's 4 years old, and I'm trying to explain to him the concept of telling me the truth no matter what. And he was some type of he had brought there was an apple where it shouldn't have been in one of the bedrooms, and it was rotten. And I was like, whose apple is this? And the kids were saying, I don't know. And they said, I think it's his apple. And he was saying, no, it's not. And he's old enough to articulate and to remember. He says, no, it's not mine. So I still don't know who did it, because he denies it, but the other kids were saying, yeah, it was him. I don't know. And I'm trying to explain to him how to tell the truth when it means you're going to be punished for telling the truth. And it's a very difficult concept to understand, even adults, as we see these politicians and ourselves. We look at ourselves. You point one finger at somebody, and you got three pointing right back at you. Uh, yeah, it's very difficult to be able to tell the truth, and we do want to practice that. But for this demonstration, I just want to get to the bottom of it, what's going on. I don't think that anything bad is going to happen right away. I could you know stand corrected on that, because Well, I mean, just anytime there's panic across the board, I kind of take a step back and say, I don't think it's going to be that bad, guys. I've seen a lot of things that have caused panic in our societies, and I just don't think that they panned out afterwards. Something that should have been that upset about. Uh, I follow a lot of conspiracy theories. I used to follow a lot of conspiracy theories. They're always very entertaining, and I've kind of built up a little bit of a thick skin because of that, because they're always panicking about this and about that and what's going on and this is going to happen and you just watch at this election and see what's going to happen. And meanwhile, I go to the grocery store and I get my groceries. I say please and thank you and have a nice day, and I hear that and I get compliments and I compliment other people. And uh, I did hear a comment from my brother-in-law that that's Iowa. Kind of live in a little bowl out here of niceness, and that's just not how it is in most of the other states. And I don't think that's true either. I remember going to Arizona, where I'm from, and nice people everywhere I've been. California, Arizona, Iowa. Those are really the only three cities or states that I've lived in. South California, and people are just nice. If you're nice, maybe it's just me. People smile at me more pretty often, and I try smiling back and just being courteous. Very rarely do I ever have a rude encounter, and when I do, I just chalk it up to statistics. If you meet 1,000 people or encounter a thousand people, and three of them are rude and obnoxious and hate you for being you, well, that's not bad. That's three out of 1,000. You have 900, over 900 people who are positive and uplifting overall. I think that's pretty cool about the United States, from my experience, anyways. Uh, some people don't really understand corrections when somebody's trying to correct you and see that you're doing something wrong, and they kind of view that as not being polite or not being nice. And my dad and has been correcting me all my life, and I just kind of view it as I'm better off for it, and I appreciate that. So with this hands-off movement, I don't know that anything's going to happen, but I do hope that if you know what's going on, that you can reach out to me and kind of explain it. You can explain it in the comments a little bit. Uh, Overall, just try to be nice to each other. I don't think that all of these jobs are going to be lost. I do believe that some of these departments are flooded heavily with incompetency. You can ask my wife. I know that she's had terrible experiences trying to deal with Medicaid and insurance for myself, because I'm self-employed, and then we have 6 kids, and two of them are adopted and four biological. It's it's just so much incompetency. It's like you can tell that these people, they have a script, and when somebody asks this question, you give them this answer, and that's about all that they can do. And when that answer doesn't satisfy the question, they say, well, here, let me transfer you to this other person, and that's a 20-minute wait, and then it's basically another person with another script, and it just goes back and forth for hours. And then you get an appointment with a meeting with somebody who knows, and then there's no person there, and it's just heads and tails going back and forth and back and forth, and lots of trying and so much incompetency. You can just get rid of a lot of people who are, I understand it fills jobs, but it also makes things so chaotic for people who are actually trying to benefit from the services that those are there for. And that's just with us, a quick stint. I don't know that we're on that program anymore, and whatever it is, Social Security, Department of Education, it just seems I've had a little bit of part of. I was a para for a couple years at one of the elementary schools here, and it seems like we were kind of forced to pay into, um, we call it the teachers union. Like, if you don't sign this, then this is going to happen, or you're not, and it's going to look bad for you, for the rest of the teachers here. And I remember one person, I think they did stick to their guns and didn't pay into it. I didn't know that you could do that. Or maybe I just didn't care about the pressure. I don't want to be pressured that much. I didn't know too much about the issue, but looking back, I was like, I don't want to pay into teachers union. It's just so these things are so bloated with uselessness. And being a job owner, it's like you can hire a lot of people, but the more you hire the people and they're not qualified, the less beneficial that becomes. um, and I think that's what's going on. I know that there's going to be a lot of um, unfair cuts, it seems, and that's, there's no perfect program. The Constitution isn't perfect, but I haven't seen one better yet. There's no perfect program. There's always going to be room for change, and sometimes when we make change, we actually uh, overcorrect and go the wrong way. And sometimes when we make change, a lot of people hate it, but it's actually the better for everybody. So I don't know which one of those things is going to happen. I don't know which one of those things these are. I just understand that there's turmoil on both sides. I wish we can be more positive together, work together, strive together, and be more united. I know that that's not going to happen, but hope the best for you guys. And thank you for watching this, and let me know how we can help, how you can share your message of what it is in this hands-off movement. I don't know that it's even a movement, just so far it was just a gathering over the weekend. But it is very interesting, anyways, and I hope that we can be better. I just hope you guys all have food and uh, whatever it is. Thanks. Bye.